Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Fresh Out the Podcast, the number one podcast featuring two guys. I'm Jahan and Nan.
It's me, the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen. And as Jahan said, it is just the two of us tonight, but we're here, ready, we're fresh out of our Memorial Day weekend for episode 89 of Fresh Out the Podcast. Jahan, did you have a good long weekend?
Yeah, man. I just hung out I did family stuff, spent a lot of time with Jenny, and we played a lot of Zelda.
I was going to ask, what percentage of your time of the 3-day weekend
Most of it.
Estimate was Zelda?
Most of it, probably. If I wasn't... we did stuff with the family, but when we weren't doing family stuff, I was playing Zelda. And for a lot of it, Jenny was too, so, you know.
I actually traveled for the weekend. I went to Broken Bow, Oklahoma, which is like a touristy destination with a lot of like cool cabins and lake and things like that, and visited with some friends there. But I did pack my Switch.
Nice.
I only got to play it a little bit though while I was there, which I was traveling, so I guess I shouldn't be playing video games. But Zelda's kind of the one that people would make that exception for.
Yeah, we talk about Tears of the Kingdom a lot. I'm really deep in it now. One of the best games that I've played, definitely this year, probably in the past 5. And honestly, it kind of makes Breath of the Wild just look like crap. Like, it's so good, man. It's such a good game.
I did get to play a little bit this evening, and when I was playing over the weekend handheld, I was like, am I getting burnt out on this? Like, I'm not really wanting to play. I think that was just more because I was traveling, because once I got home and started playing it again, I was like, oh no, I'm back to checking things off the list. I'm back to doing shrines. I'm back to it. So this game's going to be occupying a lot of my time, and I've now been playing it long enough that my Switch now shows me the hours spent in it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm only at like 20-ish, which I feel like for that game is not very much. I feel like I've barely scratched the surface in it. I mean, you could beat a lot of games in 20 hours technically, and with Zelda I've just barely scratched the surface. But
I forget what the speed
already
record is already, but I think it's like an hour and a half. But
I know it's not as short as Breath of the Wild, because I think there's a few extra things you have to complete in this one before you get to the surface. But yeah, man, this is the third episode in a row that we've talked a little bit of Zelda here and there, but I feel like it's not going to be the last. This is going to be ongoing.
It's going to be ongoing, man. It's like, I don't know, man. I keep preaching the word to everybody that'll listen about it. It really is that good. Believe the hype on this one.
Our friend Zach, friend of the show, he's been on the show before. Zach has been talking about, he beat the main campaign, the main story.
Yeah.
And he still has been putting hours into it, just creating crazy things and doing stuff like that. And it's kind of cool that the game has that staying power where, you might just do the basic things you need to do during the story, but once you're done, you can just play around in the sandbox and make all kinds of crazy contraptions and things. And especially once you start finding more vehicles, I feel like that have the control sticks on them and that you can truly drive vehicles. That's a game changer.
It's very fun, and I unlocked auto build, so I can build.
I have not done that yet.
Yeah, I can instant build anything I've ever built and save schematics and stuff. So
I probably need to do that because it's going to save me a lot of time.
It's very fun
and frustration.
Very, very fun. But yeah, that's Tears of the Kingdom. Still living strong in my life. There are other games out that I'm interested in. I really want to try Bolt Gun, which is like a retro Doom style Warhammer FPS that looks really fun. I want to do Dead Island 2 that I actually hear good things about. And then I feel like there's a few other games that are out right now that I just haven't had the time for because I'm being frugal, I guess. I'm getting my money's worth out of this game.
I'm the same as you. I've got a backlog. I've got games we've talked about on the show. Like you've talked highly about it, but like I still haven't played Ghostwire Tokyo.
Very fun.
And there's a bunch of stuff on Game Pass that I want to play that I just haven't really had the time for. And then you and I were talking offline about this, but like Diablo 4 is coming out soon, and for me that's probably going to be a time sink. And so it's just there's so much coming out, and not only that, but we're entering summer movie season, so there's just so many big movies that are now coming out weekly. Like we'll talk a little bit about Little Mermaid in a bit, but that just came out, and then the new Spider-Verse movie comes out this weekend, and then you got Transformers Rise of the Beast next weekend. So we're just at that point where there's just going to be stuff rolling out.
I already got my tickets for Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. The first one was my favorite movie of 2018.
It was a good one.
Is that right? That sounds right, 2018.
Yeah, that was my birthday movie that year, and it was did not disappoint. It was so good. So good.
I loved it. And actually that's a good transition point because it's not a MCU movie, it's a Marvel movie. But I wanted to note a few weeks ago when you, me, and Gary and Sean were talking about it was our Guardians of the Galaxy episode, and then we started talking about Marvel casting and rumors and speculation and DC and so on and so forth. I got mixed feedback on that because I was trying to reel it in, and I had some people that were like, no, let him go, it was fun, I liked it, and then other people are like, no, reel it in. And but the thing with that topic in particular, I think I kind of said that then, but I just keep seeing it now. We're seeing the Marvel casting hypotheticals and fan castings and things really ramping up because of two things. One, you have Fantastic Four on the horizon, which is a major Marvel franchise, and it's going to be a major entry in the MCU when it does come out in a couple of years. And so the casting for that one's a big deal. Who's going to be our Reed Richards and Sue Storm and Human Torch and the Thing, and characters that are presumably going to be around for a long time. So I get it. Also, Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con's right around the corner, and it's possible that those could be made official at that, and that we could get those announcements. So I just keep seeing these fan castings for Fantastic Four, and there's some consistency amongst them. Like, everywhere you look, Adam Driver is the casting for Reed Richards, which I think is good casting. I like it. but there are almost outlets starting to report it almost like it's fact. And the way Facebook is set up now, and it's just so many ads and suggested groups for things that you like.
Yeah.
I get so many like MCU fandom to the extreme group shared. Here's the Fantastic Forecast, and recently it's been Adam Driver's Mr. Fantastic, and Margot Robbie as Sue Storm.
Yeah, I've seen
and
that
Paul
one.
Mescal as I think Human Torch. And the Thing is the one that's the least consistent. I can't even remember who was on the one I most recently looked at. But this is why I think when we get into those conversations about the casting, I start to get so bugged by it, that just the cesspool that is social media now, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, is full of these fanboys that post fan castings as if they're fact, and things get picked up with all this traction. And it makes me not even want to speculate at all. It's almost like these internet trolls ruin the fun for me, I guess.
I understand that.
Is that weird? I feel like I don't mean to be contrarian with the whole thing, because I know that it's fun to talk about and to speculate, but it's just...
Yeah, I mean, it's weird that, like, major outlets like IGN will post stuff like that, you know what I mean? It's weird. They post these guesses as facts, and it's like, I don't know.
They're a little bit better about it. Like, I
Sure.
feel like the big publishers do a better job of prefacing it like, hey, who's your fan casting for the Fantastic Four? And then the comments just go wild. Or they'll post something like, here's IGN's audience's most voted on the best Reed Richards and so on. And it can be a little misleading.
I mean, it's just also clickbaity, and they just want you to click it, and then you read it. Like, I've clicked on a lot of articles, and it's like, check out this Fantastic Four casting list, and then, like, I click on it, I look at it, it's like 2 paragraphs, and they don't say anything. And it's like, all right, thanks. And yeah, it is a cesspool.
That's what irked me the most, is that I saw one recently that was like a totally unofficial fan page that posted on, I think it was on Facebook. So that's like your first, your
first red
alert going off. But they basically were like, we have it on hand, that Margot Robbie is close to signing the deal to play as Sue Storm and will be announced imminently. And it's like, you have no source. You have no facts. This is just people fueling the fire.
Yeah.
And social media can do that now. I remember 20 years ago, there used to be websites that'd be like fan castings for Marvel characters. And that was more fun back then because we didn't have, literally hundreds of MCU characters now, or people that are cast as these big characters.
And people didn't take it and run with it.
Right, and now you just have people that post things as fact when it's not.
It's annoying. I don't know. It bothers me. I really enjoy speculation. I have a lot of fun. I feel like it's like our birthright as nerds. You know what I mean? Like, we get to speculate. Like, you know what I mean? I have a certificate from college. I'll have a degree soon. But my real claim to authority is my nerddom. And I want to be able to fly that flag. I want to be able to say, no, they would never be a good person because, this, that, and the other reason. But it's just, I get what you're saying. I think it's fine as long as you make sure that, we're just screwing around. We don't know anything. We didn't, I feel like it would be fun for us to do, a fan casting every now and again. Who would be your Fantastic Four,
It makes it that much more difficult that on all my social medias, it knows that I'm into all this stuff, so it promotes or shows me these things more often.
I'm getting a lot of them,
and that's the problem is you get these fan castings or fan sites that you don't know what's true. Like, I saw one the other day, and I guess potential spoilers, it's really more of speculation, but I guess if you really, really don't want to know anything. But it was talking about Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
And it was saying, rumor, or, we have it on hand that James Marsden and Famke Janssen and Halle Berry are all reprising their roles from X-Men in Deadpool 3.
Halle
In
Berry
some
posted
capacity.
a picture with white hair, which leads people to speculate. Yeah, it's a bunch of
It's like stuff like, and I'm like, is this real or is this just some targeted BS that's hitting my feed? Like, what even is this?
I mean, I keep seeing a lot of pages that are like Marvel official fan page, but it's not. It's not an official anything. Like, they have names like that, and it's really annoying.
MCUleaks.blogspot.
Yeah, there you
go.
go.
I'm like, what is that? What's happening?
Yeah, I don't know. I like doing it as an exercise. I enjoy fan casting, and I enjoy. I like doing like when we do drafts and stuff like that, but I don't know who they're casting. Why would I? It's like we don't present it that way, so I don't see the issue with when we do it. But I understand the bad taste in your mouth.
We might have to do, though, just because we did get some good feedback. Like, maybe in the future we'll do a bonus episode or something of just, like, the Marvel or, like, the nerd fan casting episode with, like, projects on the horizon where casts haven't been announced yet, who we would want or potentially want to see. I don't know. We might have to do that in the future.
I think we should start doing a segment anytime they announce something. Be like, who do you want to see? I think it should just be like as long as you present it correctly, it should be fine.
Right. Okay, well, that was my rant about that. That was good. I do want to get into the other big topic of this week, which is the big release in theaters.
Yeah.
Wow, I was that a recording of Ariel, or was that you? I genuinely don't know.
Some people call me the Siren of the Sea. So,
so here's what I did. Right, gosh, my life is sad, John. I spent a weekend away, get home on a Sunday, and spend time with my family. Monday is Memorial Day. We spend time outside and playing, the sprinkler with my daughter and, having a good time. We grilled out. We do all these things, get my daughter to bed, and then I've got two options. It's watch Game 7 of the NBA Conference Championships, watch the Celtics and Heat game, which is like a pretty intense game, pretty big deal. I decided not to do that, and instead I went to the theater by myself, and I went and saw The Little Mermaid. The 2023 Little Mermaid live-action remake of the animated classic that is directed by Rob Marshall. And I don't know why I do this to myself. These Disney live-action remakes have had definitely varying degree. I would say most of them are successful, so I shouldn't say varying degrees of success, because I think from a box office perspective, most of them have done just fine.
Yeah.
But from a quality critical standpoint, definitely varying degrees of success there. Mostly, I'd say a pretty low bar has been set, and the general consensus from all of these is they're not necessary. The animated classics are better. What's the point? What did this add? And this one definitely falls into that category. But I thought for what it was fine. It didn't offend me, watching it. It didn't ruin the original.
I would hope not.
Right. It like the live action Lion King remake, I did not like. The Aladdin one, pretty meh. Even the Beauty and the Beast one, I have issues with. This is probably on the better end of all of those. And yeah, I'll kind of start from the top here. So, like I said, it's directed by Rob Marshall. He's kind of become the jobber for mainstream movie musicals, or especially Disney musicals, because he directed Chicago back in 2002 that came out, and which won Best Picture. So he immediately establishes himself as like a top tier, director, and as far as musicals go.
And then he just started grinding out paychecks.
I assume he was nominated for Best Director at the Oscars that year. Let me confirm this live on the air. I need to know.
Absolutely.
Yes, he was nominated for Best Director, but he did not win. And he has since gone on to direct Nine in 2009, which was not a good movie. It was a musical. He did Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, which was the fourth Pirates movie, the one with Blackbeard.
I thought
Then
you were
he
talking
did
about
Into the
number
Woods.
9.
What was that?
I thought you were talking about number 9.
Number 9? No,
Uh,
not just
No.
9. He did Into the Woods, which is a Broadway adaptation that he made for Disney. He did
I feel like I saw
Mary
that.
Poppins
I feel like it was pretty good.
Returns. I actually haven't seen Into the Woods. I have seen Mary Poppins Returns, and I did not like it very much. I just thought it was very slow.
Some movies don't need a sequel, dude.
Right. And then now The Little Mermaid is here. And the other thing that's noteworthy here is that Lin-Manuel Miranda was brought on to help with a few additional songs, which again, he's like been the go-to for Disney musicals with things like Moana and again Mary Poppins Returns, because he's in that. And what's that? He wrote songs for something else too it's slipping my mind. Another Disney movie. But neither here nor there. He's brought in, and it was definitely a little jolting to see in the end credits. You have Alan Menken and Howard Ashman credited, who they did all the music for the original, and Howard Ashman's like a legendary Disney lyricist who passed away way too young. He's only 40 years old. And to see now you have Alan Menken, Howard Ashman, and Lin-Manuel Miranda credited together on this new one, it was a little bit surreal. But yeah, so that's that. This new one's, of course, stars Halle Bailey as Ariel. You've got Jonah Hauer-King as Prince Eric, Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, Javier Bardem as King Triton, Daveed Diggs as the voice of Sebastian, Jacob Tremblay as Flounder, Aquafina as Scuttle. And yeah, so I think the first thing to talk about is the good, which is that Halle Bailey is a pretty great find. Like she's very, as Gary likes to say, if he were here, she has the it factor for sure.
Yeah.
I think that her performance is pretty solid. Her voice is definitely incredible.
She's
and
a
then
beautiful
Melissa
young
McCarthy,
woman, and she can sing very well. So, like, what else do you want for?
She's very pretty. She has she's going to be, actually the trailer just came out for the Color Purple movie that's coming out later this year, and she's in that too. So she's going to have 2 big musicals out this year, and yeah, I mean, now all of a sudden she's an overnight household name, and I feel like that kind of happens with some of these recent movie musicals. That there's been this trend of casting these kind of unknown young actresses. The other good example is Rachel Zegler, who was in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, and she's really, really great in it. And then she had a smaller role in the new Shazam sequel, which is not a good movie, but she is kind of a shining light in it. She's very good, but she's also the lead in the new Hunger Games spinoff that's coming out, and she's going to be Disney's new live action Snow White. So Rachel Zegler's kind of all over the place.
We get to hear the exact same argument about the exact same person again, don't we?
Exactly.
Oh,
and then,
boy.
And then Halle Bailey, I feel like, is kind of going to be in that same zone of like making a big splash in a big movie musical. She's going to have another one later this year, and will establish herself, and we'll start see her popping up. But she's very good. And then Melissa McCarthy is actually really great in this and does a great job of putting a little bit of Melissa McCarthy into Ursula, but also kind of invoking the original performance of the animated film. And she's good. She's for sure a highlight of it. And weirdly enough, of all the musical numbers that are brought in from the original movie, the Poor Unfortunate Souls number that Melissa McCarthy does was probably my favorite in the new film. Because some of them, like Part of Your World is great. Halle Bailey does a great job. It's a long ballad, but like Under the Sea is almost the most offensive thing in the movie. I'm going to pull up some lyrics here to Under the Sea, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. Are you familiar with the song Under the Sea, Jahan?
Things are better down where it's weather. Take it from me. Yeah, I know.
That's it.
My older brother dressed up as Sebastian and did that song for a talent show.
Oh, is there a video of that? I would like to see that.
There probably is video of it. Take that, Alex.
Okay. I'm gonna read you some lyrics here. The newt played the flute, the cart played the harp, the place played the bass, and they sounded sharp. The bass played the brass, the chub played the tub, the fluke is the Duke of Soul. The ray he can play, the lings on the strings, the trout rocking out, the blackfish she sings, the smell and the sprat, they know where it's at, and oh, that blowfish blow. Right? You know the part I'm talking about in that song?
Sounds Dr. Seussy.
You want to know what you don't see in this movie? You don't see the newt play the flute or the cart played the harp. The place played the bass, and they sounded sharp. The bass played the brass. The chub played the tub. The fluke is the Duke of Soul. I'm not going to go on anymore. You don't see any of these things. They mention a hot crustacean band. There is indeed no hot crustacean band in this film. There's a weird thing that happens here, and it reminds me of the argument that happens in the Cars movies. Because you know how in Pixar and Cars, people are like, some people like to get existential with the cars, be like, are there humans? Who drives them? Who creates the cars? Like, how does this happen? Because you have these, talking cars. And the same thing kind of happens in the new Little Mermaid, where there are some sea creatures that speak and have like human tendencies, and others that are just totally normal. Yeah. I don't know who decides which fish can speak and which can't.
I do.
Yeah,
Poseidon.
I mean, sure.
Poseidon gets to choose.
The mermaid CG is interesting. I feel like at first it's a little bit disorienting, the hair floating, and it's almost distracting. Yeah. Because you get a little uncanny valley with it where it looks like faces superimposed onto CG bodies floating in the water. But another thing that surprised me is like you get surprisingly little of that. I feel like the first half where Ariel is in the water and is still a mermaid is relatively short before she gets legs and goes to the surface. I feel like a long part of the movie, a long stretch, is where she's on the surface,
is it
unable
for the best?
To speak. And it drags. That's where the movie drags. My sister has an almost 4-year-old and took her daughter to see the movie, and she said my niece's review was that she liked the beginning half, with the mermaids, that she thought Ursula was a little scary, and that she didn't like when Ariel had feet because she got bored. So there's a almost 4-year-old's review.
It's probably fair.
Right.
Yeah, the part that bothered me from all the trailers was Sebastian, because they made him look like a real crab, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, the look of him is definitely a little distracting at first. I do think you kind of get used to him. I like when he's on the surface with Ariel and his little legs like clickety clack around. I like that.
It's always fun.
and I actually liked Daveed Diggs' voice performance for the most part.
There's no Flounder. Though.
There is Flounder. Flounder's in it. It's voiced by Jacob Tremblay, but he's just not in it very much. And he is like a photorealistic fish that's just kind of strange. Like there's no little chunkiness like you get with the OG Flounder. Like he's just this little fish that talks. I want to talk a little bit about Awkwafina as Scuttle, because this is the one that is going to be probably the most...
Awkwafina's the seagull?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she plays Scuttle. And, first off, props to Awkwafina, because she's just getting those Disney paychecks.
She really is.
She was in Raya and the Last Dragon, so she's done Disney animation. Yeah. She's done Shang-Chi, so she's done Disney MCU. Yeah. And then now she's done The Little Mermaid, so she's done live action Disney. I'm trying to think, the only thing she hasn't done is Star Wars as far as the Disney world goes. So I can't blame her for collecting those Disney checks. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And I actually like Awkwafina a lot in general. I do think she's funny and charming, so I like her. But in this, I just found her to be pretty grating as Scuttle. She has a few moments they think are funny, and other moments that just really misses the
I like
mark
her
for
in a
me.
lot of stuff too, but sometimes she's in the wrong place. It's not necessarily her fault. She shouldn't have been there, And yeah, I can see how that would be grating.
Right. I don't even blame her for this. I don't know if she just was the wrong casting
It's
or
probably
what.
just bad casting.
I can see why on paper it makes sense, but just in the film, she's the part that really didn't work for me. Which kind of leads to there's a few new songs, right, added to this, as expected when you have these Disney live action remakes. Worth noting, the original Little Mermaid is like 88 minutes long or something like that. It is short. This one is 2 hours and 15 minutes long.
That's too long.
It is definitely too long. There's 3 new songs. One is a song that Eric does, like a solo Eric song, and it's really unmemorable and bad. They try to give Eric more backstory and like flesh out his character a little bit, how he was like essentially orphaned or left to royalty, and the family raised him, but it's not his real family, and it's just like, just move on, please. Like, you just want to hit the fast forward button.
Yeah, he was a prince. Like, why mess with that?
Right. Who cares?
More? I would have rather had a song about, would you rather have a mermaid with a fish top or bottom half?
See?
That's a much more compelling song.
Why have they not consulted you for this movie?
I don't know. Hey, while we're on the subject, top or bottom, true.
Would I rather myself be top half fish or bottom half fish?
No. Would you rather, like, go out with a top or bottom fish mermaid? Like, romantically.
I'm probably going to go with the bottom half's mermaid because I think I'd want a human face.
Okay.
And arms.
Okay.
I'm not going to ask for details or why you're saying that. I'm sure that there are things here that are going to get into the gross realm that I don't want to speculate. I don't want to do this on the show, Jahan.
Man.
No. I know if Gary was here, he would be engaging with you in this. I'm not doing it.
My answer would totally be bottom mermaid. All the way up until I played Tears of the Kingdom and saw them Zanya girls. I'm like, fish heads can be cute.
Is that the equivalent of the Zoras?
Yeah, the Zoras. There you go. The Zoras, yeah.
Gosh, where we got way off track there. With these new songs, talked about the Eric one. There's a Scuttle rap that Aquafina does, and this is the part where I was really
I
thought
out she learned her lesson.
Yeah, it's rough. It's for sure the most Lin-Manuel Miranda of the songs. That's the quick talking rap that he's kind of known for. Daveed Diggs has a part in that song too, and his part's fine because he's obviously from was in Hamilton and beat the record for like words spoken per minute or something like that in one of the songs in that movie. Like, he's very quick speaking and he's great. But the Scuttle part of that rap is just it's not good, and it's one of the worst parts of the movie. And then there's another song that's added, which again, you have Halle Bailey in this movie playing Ariel, who has a wonderful voice. And if you really think to the original Little Mermaid, like, Ariel really only has one song. She sings Part of Your World. That's the Ariel song. Under the Sea is Sebastian. Kiss the Girl is sings, Sebastian.
Is Part of Your World the one where she talks about dingle hoppers and stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the one Ariel song. There's an Ursula song, and there's a couple of Sebastian songs. So naturally, they add another Ariel song, but it's during the part where she doesn't have a voice. So she's not like singing in the movie. She's singing in her head. And it's kind of odd and disorienting at first, but I feel like it's probably the best of the newly added songs. The other thing with this, they do try to add in some mermaid lore, right? Like, they refer to Ursula in particular, and some of the sailors, pirates refer to Ariel singing as the siren song, and like it does put a spell over men, and like that's why Eric is so drawn to when he first hears her song, because it's her siren song, and that's part of, you know, mermaid lore. But that's it. It's just referred to a couple of times, which I thought was interesting. Also, they do refer to in the movie. I'm talking pretty openly about this because there's nothing really to spoil here, right?
There's
like this movie's been around
here
for so long. The only thing that you spoil is like if something from the original is or isn't in this one. That's really all you can do.
Yeah.
So Javier Bardem plays King Triton, and he has his 7 daughters, and they kind of allude to like he has his 7 daughters for the 7 seas, and that maybe each one kind of is over a different realm and whatnot. But Ariel's mother, they're clear, you know, she was killed by sailors or by humans, was killed by humans, and that's why they're banned from going to the surface and they don't interact with humans. But Ariel's mother specifically was killed by humans. But she has all her sisters, but they go for diversity here, which is great. You have Javier Bardem, but then you have all of the different sisters are all different races and ethnicities. I couldn't help but wonder, I'm like, okay, so like, has King Triton just been like truly around the seas here, and all of these sisters have different moms? Do they all have the same mom? And it's just like, I don't know how mermaid culture works, and they just, you know, they can be whatever they are.
See, the female leaves her eggs, and then the male comes in and fertilizes them.
Okay. Go, please go on. Please go on. Don't stop there.
I want to.
Javier Bardem is also super distracting when he's underwater because he just looks so... You know, he's got the long gray hair and the long gray beard and looks very CGI'd, you know, for sure. There's a couple scenes at the end of the movie where he's out of the water, like looking out at Ariel, and it just... Poor Javier Bardem. It's just like poor hair and makeup, and he's like in a water... and like a pool or something sticking out and having to do these scenes. Like, I sure hope they paid him a lot. He almost looks miserable during these scenes. It made me legitimately laugh out loud watching the movie and seeing it, because it just stands out so much.
It's funny.
The big thing I'll complain about, the last big thing I'll complain about that they cut everything with the chef. And the he ha ha ha, and trying to get Sebastian and all that. Yeah. It's gone. It's all gone. He's not in it. Not even a character. It's gone. It's not here. Yeah, man. I don't know. I keep going to see these Disney live action remakes, and it made good money over the weekend. So it's definitely going to be considered a success. You know, it made almost $200 million worldwide in its first weekend, and its budget's $250, and it's probably going to continue to make money in the coming weeks. And
I don't know. I'm always just a fan of how angry people get at these things, and it's always funny to me. So that'll make it worth it for me. But at the same time, I don't know, man. These Disney live actions, it seems like the problem is when they try to improve on the classic, and it's like, it's a classic for a reason. Like, why are you, adding Aquafina scuttle wraps? Like, what are you doing?
Right.
How are you adding an hour to this?
And Little Mermaid in particular is like right when it kind of began that Disney Renaissance, animation Renaissance, where it led into the run of Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King, which all of those they have now done. The Little Mermaid's the last one of those to get the live action treatment.
And none of them
it
were
might
good.
actually be the best of those. As far as the live action part goes, but that doesn't necessarily make, again, it's not like it's a high bar. Of course,
you
there's
don't like
all the
Will
casting.
Smith as the genie?
I have mixed feelings about it.
I have
Some
mixed
of the
feelings
stuff he
too.
does there is fine, but of course, there's the casting controversy with Halle Bailey and and Black Ariel and all that. At the end of the day, I can see why they cast her. I mean, she's got all the charisma. She's beautiful. Her voice is incredible. her performance is decent enough in it.
I
will say, I feel like she does better in the scenes where she's interacting with CGI creatures and not humans. Like at the very end when she has her voice back and she's talking to Eric and whatever, I was like, oof, yeah, I don't know. But I hadn't thought much of it up until then. So she's overall pretty good. But yeah, I mean, I can see why they got her. She's wonderful, and
yeah.
I'm glad that they cast her.
I mean, normal people
got red hair. She's Ariel. She's Ariel in it.
The normal people, I saw a lot of girls on TikTok putting on mermaid tails and going, like, I saw a whole movie theater full of mermaid girls. You know, they were all different colors. They give it, you know, it's normal. It's fine. Everyone's going to be fine.
Absolutely. So yeah, so I guess that's it. Let me look here at my notes and make sure I didn't skip anything. No, it looks like I did everything I made notes on. So that's it.
Nice.
I would say for me it's probably like a 6 out of 10. So like, I mean, it's fine.
It's not bad for a kids movie.
I could say that it's fresh enough out the podcast.
It's not going to give
fresh
you
enough
food
out
poisoning.
Yeah. I'll say if you're gonna see one of the Disney live action remakes, this isn't the worst one that you could see. I'll put it that way.
It's fair enough.
So that's The Little Mermaid. How about you, Jahan? So we can move into our fresh picks of the week and move along here. How about you? Did you get to watch anything this week?
Yeah, we got to watch The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, starring Nicolas Cage as Nicolas Cage. And I mean, long story short, great. It was great. It was awesome. I loved it. I thought it was great. Nicolas Cage is hired by a wealthy person for a lot of money to come spend the birthday weekend there in Spain. Oh no, I forgot his name. What's his name?
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, I don't know why I've been blanking on that lately. Pedro Pascal is the rich guy. He pays like $1 million. They hit it off. They become friends. They have a good time, and like shenanigans ensue, mostly involving Tiffany Haddish and the FBI. There's a scene in there where I know that you've seen it, right, Drew?
I have seen it. Yes.
Not
in theaters.
The LSD scene where they took acid is, I don't know that I've laughed that hard at anything in a long time, dude. I was crying. It was perfect. Everything about it was perfect. If you're a fan of Nicolas Cage, I mean, they talk about his movies, they talk about his career. Nick Cage is at his most Nick Cageiest. I don't know, I feel like he's very self-aware about who he is and how he's perceived. And he leans into it in this, and I think it turns out really good. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 on my Letterboxd.
I can't remember what I gave it. Let me look here.
I absolutely love this movie. It's one of the better movies I've seen lately. I was laughing pretty much the whole time. There are some times when it's not funny because it's not supposed to be, but overall it was just a really funny movie and a really good time.
I gave it a 3.5 when I saw it, so 7 out of 10. But I remember liking it a lot, and it made me laugh. And this movie, it's kind of funny because now a year later, it's like it has entered the TikTok culture. It was there for a minute, you know, the meme where they're driving and they do the Nick Cage does the slow look over at Pedro Pascal, and he's doing the big smile and nod. That has been memed to eternity on TikTok in the past few months.
Yeah, I've seen the meme a million times, and I didn't realize that they were on acid.
Oh yeah,
it makes it a lot better for me. I thought it was pretty funny.
I remember the finale of that film being quite funny with the stage makeup and all that they do.
Oh man, it gets pretty wild, yeah.
Yep, I liked that movie. Good movie. I'm glad you got to check it out.
Yeah, me too. And then his daughter is the daughter of, what's her name? Kate Beckinsale.
Yes.
Which is funny.
Well, anything else on the unbearable weight of massive talent?
I mean, I think people should go watch it. If you like Nick Cage, check it out. It made me want to watch all his movies again. Uh,
Same here. I remember it doing that to me too. I'm like, man, it definitely makes you want to catch up on the ones you maybe haven't seen because there's a lot of Nick Cage deep cuts in it.
Man, we started looking into some of them. Keanu started talking about Kiss of the Vampire. Are you aware of that one?
I am. I've actually seen that one. I
haven't
took
seen it.
believe it or not, in college I took a vampire cinema class, and this was one of the
That's a
ones
dope
that we
class.
watched.
I like that. I like vampire cinema, but yeah, no. So yeah, the idea of that story is like he gets attacked by a bat at night or something, and then like convinces himself that he's turning into a vampire, and
Right.
like, and it's just really funny. And I want to watch that one, even though it looks terrible.
It's very silly.
I didn't realize he's been in three to five movies a year for the past like 10 years. It's
He's been
insane.
doing a lot of direct to video or VOD movies. Like I watched the one, I can't think of what it's called, but it's basically like a Five Nights at Freddy's ripoff.
Willy's
where
Wonderland.
Yes, that's the one. I watched that one. It's very bad.
I want to see that
I
one.
recommend it.
But there's a lot of gems scattered in there too. I thought Mom and Dad was good. I don't know if you saw that one.
I've not. I've heard it's good though.
Yeah, the parents start killing their kids. It's like a horror comedy. It's pretty crazy. Nick Cage kills it in that role. And then Mandy. I don't know if you've seen Mandy.
Yes, I love Mandy.
Oh boy, Mandy's an art piece, dude. That's a hell of a movie. And they mentioned it in this movie, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yep, and he just most recently was just hamming it up as Dracula in Renfield.
Yeah.
A movie that I thought was okay. He's definitely pretty fun in it though, because he's just he's going all out as he typically does.
What's your Nick Cage go-to movie?
Oh gosh, my Nick Cage go-to movie is probably Face Off.
Face Off's a good one. It's a tough call. I would probably lean more to The Rock. The Rock is so good. I like that one a lot. But Face Off, I mean, it is really. I've watched it fairly recently, and it is actually pretty good still.
Oh, and I'll throw out Pig. I really liked it in
yeah,
Pig. Is
Pig.
another more recent one. I know that there's a lot of National Treasure stands out there that love those movies.
Yeah.
I came to those late, and I think that they're fine. Oh, and then we forgot to mention, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. He's a voice in.
One of those unsubstantiated rumor things is claiming that he might do a live-action Spider Noir series, and I just don't believe it. But if anyone would, it'd be Nick Cage.
Is he in the sequel? Is he in the Spider-Verse sequel that's coming out this weekend?
I don't know. If Spider Noir is, I assume it would be him still, though.
I'm just looking to see on his IMDb if it's listed.
It kind of blew my mind that was him when I found out originally.
Because I feel like so much of that trailer is all the Spider-Man 2099 and all that. No, I do not see it listed here.
Interesting. But the guy still got it. This movie was fantastic. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent was fantastic. And then, like, recently he's been in at least two movies that were award-worthy, in my opinion. Pig and Mandy were both big time. Pig was very good. I forgot about that one. But yeah, I think my go-to is probably The Rock. But National Treasure, those are comfort movies for me. I can just put those on and just have them going in the background and just have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. They're fun. They're definitely fun.
Yeah, it's one of his more grounded performances, and I like it.
Well, speaking of fun, but not necessarily grounded, I think I even talked about it on the show. I had it sitting by me. A few weeks ago, I bought the Arrow 4K Collector's Edition of RoboCop. And I had never seen RoboCop, so I had bought this version of it because I wanted to watch it. Watched this 4K. First off, considering it's a 1987 movie, looked amazing.
Oh, so the original.
Oh yeah, this is the OG 1987 one, directed by Paul Verhoeven, starring Peter Weller. Dude, RoboCop rules. It was so
crazy.
much fun. And I was surprised at how much it holds up and the relevance with just police brutality and police killings and all the things there. Like it holds up in that regard, but just the whole way that RoboCop is introduced in it, the big tech companies that don't care about the people, they're just trying to make money and make these machines, and who can win out and have their machines be the ones protecting the city, stuff like that. I feel like some of those deeper themes work in a movie that could have been just such schlocky, dumb, blood and guts. It has that dumbness to it. I mean, it's RoboCop, like, right? It's a big robo, a cop in a robot body. But like some of the themes and stuff here that are explored, like it's good. It's legitimately good. So I don't want to talk about it too much because I'm sure people have seen RoboCop and like
RoboCop's great. The remake that happened more recently was pretty good.
I've not seen the remake with
good stuff.
It's the guy from Suicide Squad, right? Joel Kinnaman, I think, plays RoboCop in that one. I've not seen it.
Maybe. Yeah, it's pretty good. But classic movies are classic. That movie is so the 80s. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
It's great. I don't know. I'm glad you watched it. I don't know that I've seen the whole thing all the way through. I've definitely seen some of it, but
super gory. Super
been a
gory.
while.
Like one guy gets shot so many times, it's insane. It's very gory.
Oh, does he get like blasted to pieces, kind of like
Yes.
Okay,
by a big mech robot? He gets shot countless times.
They do that one on Family Guy. It's really
it was funny, but it's it's crazy. So that's RoboCop I wanted to talk about, and then I was just going to mention also the two big series finales that happened over the weekend, because both Succession and Barry, two different HBO shows, had their series finales, and actually tonight we'll get the last episode of Ted Lasso's dropping, and that's the series finale for that one as well. So lots of series finales. But I've been talking about Succession for the past few months on here because I binged the first 3 seasons and I've been watching the 4th season in real time, and it definitely ended well. It was a satisfying conclusion to the story. I'm glad they ended it where it did. I don't want to go into spoilers, and especially talking about characters that you don't know because you haven't seen the show, but it's very good. And some of the characters make decisions that are baffling, but I still think they're true to the characters. And I don't know, these people are scummy and they remain scummy is kind of how it ends, but it's very funny and a great show. I think it will go down alongside The Sopranos and The Wire and some of these other shows considered to be some of the best in HBO history. Wow. I think Succession will have cemented its place along those.
High praise.
Absolutely. It is that good. And Barry as well is very great. It's especially for what started as a more, I don't want to call it simple, but it's a half-hour comedy with the premise of an assassin wants to quit being an assassin, wants to get out of that world and become an actor, right? Pretty great premise for a show. It really leans into that premise the first 2 seasons, and it takes a turn in the 3rd season and in the 4th season too. And there's some, I don't want to go too much into spoilers, but there's some time jumps and things that are very interesting. And I think the big takeaway from Barry that's very fascinating is, Bill Hader stars in this, and originally it was just that, right? Like he was starring in it, and it very quickly became his like auteur product, where he started writing it and started directing episodes until the point where he was directing pretty much all of them. Again, I keep looking stuff up during this episode, but this is relevant. I'm looking at Barry.
It's okay. It makes us sound professional. So,
how many of the episodes he did direct? So Bill Hader actually. Oh no, he's been directing since the 1st season. He directed the first 3 episodes of the 1st season. He directed.
Good for him.
One of the most iconic episodes of the second season he directed, and he also directed the finale. And then he directed 4 or 5 episodes of the third season, and he directed every episode of the last season. So this has truly become a Bill Hader project of him directing. He writes a lot of it. He's highly involved and has really made the case for him being like a great tour creator. You know, he's a writer, director, actor. His acting's great in it. The show gets pretty deep, and surely now he's going to have doors opened for him to be able to write and direct other projects. And I'm really interested to see what he does beyond this. I think Bill Hader's very funny, so I like him on a basic level of like being a funny cop in Superbad. I think he is great in that. But the fact that he can also like has this kind of stuff in him is very encouraging. I want to see more from Bill Hader. I want to see what he does.
Absolutely. I've always been a fan of Bill Hader. I've always liked him, and I'm happy things are working out for him. He seems like a really nice dude.
I'll be interested to see what Gary says about Barry next week when he's back on, because I know I think last week he said he had started watching the first season, and I know I talked to him earlier this week or late last week, and he was already on season 3. So most likely by the time that we record the next episode, he will probably have finished the series by that point.
That's true.
I would imagine. So I'll be interested to hear his takes. But yeah, Jahan, I recommend this one. I think you'd really enjoy it. And it's a half-hour comedy. They all stick to like the 25 to 29-minute range, so it's pretty watchable.
Yeah, I watched the first 2 and I liked it, so maybe I'll stick with it.
Okay, you have seen the first 2
I've seen some
seasons.
of them, yeah.
Okay, the third season is where there's like a big jump in story and what they decide to do, where I feel like it lost some people, but if you stick with it, the payoff's great. Like it's a really great show.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's it for me and my fresh picks. I just wanted to talk about those.
That's it for me
finales.
too, buddy. Because I've only been watching Doctor Who and playing Zelda, so take that.
And I traveled over the weekend, so I was not sitting and watching movies like I normally would. So it's just the nature of the beast. And we're down a man today, so hopefully Gary will be back next week.
But either way, we'll be talking about Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I know you and I for sure will be seeing it. Maybe we can convince Gary to go see it. And I might see if Sean's available and see if he wants to join us next week, because I know he'll be seeing it.
Absolutely, man.
That might be another good
Spider-Man. Spider-Man's my boy, dude.
Absolutely. So, yeah, look forward to that next week on episode 90. But otherwise, I think that's it. Do you have anything else you want to add, Jahan?
No, I like you guys.
I like you guys too, and you guys being you, because you're the only guy here. But I like you.
Well, I meant also like people listening.
Oh yeah, I like them too. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
Thanks for listening. I mean, that's cool. I mean, we have like a solid viewership of like consistent numbers, so it's thanks all of you. It's dope. But yeah, that's it for episode 89. I have been the board game guru and game master extraordinaire, Jahan. If you enjoy if you enjoy board games and tabletop role-playing games, you want to see me and Gary doing improvisation fantasy worlds, you can check out our YouTube and Twitch channels, Fresh Out the Box or twitch.tv/Jahan. Usually Wednesday through Fridays, 8 to 11 Central, for all of those shenanigans. But in the meantime, just stay fresh.
And I am Drew Munhausen, at Drew Munhausen on Twitter. If you have things that you like about the show, things you want to say, maybe compliments, tweet those at me. If you have complaints about the show, things you don't like, tweet those at Jahan.
Yeah, so tweet those to at RockFact, and I'll fight you.
There you go. And I, again, am at Drew Munhausen on Twitter. Drew Munhausen on Letterboxd, if you want to catch me there and see what all I've been watching. Maybe the stuff that I watched that I'm too embarrassed about to talk on the show. Just kidding. I talk about all kinds of embarrassing stuff, so not too worried about that. But this has been episode 89 of Fresh Out the Podcast.
Stay fresh.